Hello guys and welcome back. So today's video is going to be about anxiety, and I wanted to film this because I just felt like it was a good idea, but also because there's lots of people out there who have anxiety. Now, you might think that I'm not talking about this because what I'm trying to say is you're probably thinking I'm just talking about it because I don't have it. Well, in actual fact, I do have anxiety. I don't know if I can call it anxiety or not, but anxiety to me is worrying, and there's lots of things that come into worrying, and one of those, well, worrying comes into anxiety. There's lots of other things that come into anxiety, social anxiety, lots of different things that make us have anxiety. And this is definitely going to be a chatty video, so do get ready for a very chatty video. But I'm going to tell you how I got anxiety and how it kind of affected me a little bit. So I actually it actually started when I started high school, but not like straight away. I felt fine for the first year. In year 7 I just had like little worries now and then, but they weren't as big and they weren't as minor, they were just small worries. So for me at that point, just thought a normal person has this all the time. I mean, I am normal, but the thing is, it's my cat. The thing is that like social anxiety, I mean, I'm trying to think, I don't know how to do this. The way I had it, of course in year 7 I did get a bit like worried now and then, but I just thought that happens now and then. When I started year 8, that's kind of where it went downhill, and I was off more to this point. I was off school more, and when I like worried about something or I wasn't really looking forward to a lesson, I'd try and just stay off school and avoid the lesson. But that only made matters worse because it would mean that I'd have to catch up on my work, and then that made me worried that if I was off one day that I would have to go back to school, try and find the teacher and get the homework done and catch up and everything. But then that led me to think that the teacher's also busy too, so I have to wait. But also other kind of worries that happened when I was in my second year was that I worried about small silly things like making a mistake in your book. And if I made a mistake, I would scribble it out, like really scribble it out, and it just wasn't like right. It didn't feel right, and I was worrying about silly things, and I was worried about if I was doing something right, if it looked good or not. So that was kind of the worry that I had a lot, and it kind of really affected me a little bit. And then sometimes, like as I said, like not wanting to go to school. When I didn't want to go to school, my parents had to get me into school because of the amount of times I've been off. I mean, I hadn't been off like in a whole like 2 weeks. I haven't been off for 2 weeks. It's kind of like spread out, but they didn't want me to keep doing this every now and again, and they tried to send me into school, and they did eventually get me into school. Eventually, don't worry, I didn't like I actually did get into school. But what happened was, I remember this one time I was off one day, and I was able to go home, and then I said I don't want to go in again, so they let me off for one more day. But then the next day I was like, I'm not going to school, and this time they thought, you know what, you have to go. So they actually I had to go to school, and I did, and after that I just gave up trying. um, but it made me think, the more I do this, the more I'm going to have to catch up with my work, and the more it's just going to make it even more difficult for myself. So the more I come back into school, get the work done, and then think, oh, I want to be off again, and be off, and then just have the same cycle of having to catch up on things, that just felt to me like I don't want that to happen again. Lots of anxiety kind of things went into like doing something in a book, like writing something in a book, and then later on coming back to you, and you gonna have to go back. So when I did worry quite a lot, and I worried about the mistake in my book, I would sometimes go to the classroom and find the book, my school book, and change it and make it better for me to calm myself down. I found ways, if there was something in a book that was, you know, a mistake, and I wanted to go and change it quickly, I would go into the classroom and try and sort it out. But then I kind of felt like that was going to make me even more anxious, so I actually got a teacher who was a teacher assistant, and she helped me to calm down and try and leave my worry. And when she's seen the scribbles and stuff that I made on my work, she said, like, look, you didn't have to do this. If you didn't worry about this, then what, it looks fine as it was. You didn't have to do the scribbles on you, like where you thought your mistake were. Luckily, none of the teachers ever told me to, like, why did you do this, because they just never did. I think in a few books some teachers maybe said kind of stop making try not to make too much mess, which that has, like, some teachers just said to do that, which I'm guessing is kind of what they see every day. They see some students getting a little bit anxious and then kind of saying calm down a bit, you know, it's only schoolwork. So I've never got told off about it, though sometimes at the time I always got a little bit anxious about that, like in case a teacher found out. But my second year of high school was mainly anxious, and that's kind of where it started for me. Then in year 9, which is the third year, I actually kind of settled down a bit into like, I settled down a little bit more, and I'd only been off twice in that year, so it seemed like only once I've read and I was off for one day, and you know, it didn't go to a good start, but it was the only time I was ever off for nothing. That's the only time I ever missed school, like, for a worry. And the second time I was actually ill. I actually had a cold, so being off twice in 1 year is probably better than being off millions of times. And I felt like year 9 was a better year for me, that I didn't worry as much, but that didn't mean that I didn't worry at all. It didn't mean that I had a whole year not worrying about anything. That just can't happen. If you don't worry, it's you just, there's like, there must, like, not to saying that there's anything wrong with you, but I just think, oh, you're not worrying, there's something wrong with you. Like, everybody must worry in their life, and so you can't not worry about something. You do worry about something every now and then, and that did happen. I did worry about a few things now and then, but I did see my counsellor, who I actually met from the start in year 7, and I met her in year 7 and had conversations with her in year 7. Then in year 8 we just kept on catching up, getting back together and talking again, and then in year 9 we just had, like, term chats, because she seemed to think I was doing alright at the time, so I'd only go back to her, like, every term and speak to her, and just so that she knew I was alright, and that if there was anything that I needed to talk to her about, I could go to her. I could ask her to go back to weekly appointments and stuff like that. But overall I was doing fine, and I did worry about things now and then, but eventually it kind of calmed down to the end of the year, and I was doing fine. And I met my new head of year, because my other head of year had been promoted, and my new head of year was asking me how I was, how I'd settled down, how much I changed, and she said to me, you know, we all worry about something. She even told me about how she coped with it in her time when she was my age and stuff like that. And when we had our sports day, now I know this isn't anything to do with worrying, but when I had my sports day, my last sports day, my head of year was there. I mean, all the teachers in school was there, but I was sitting down in my seat, and I was quite bored because I was waiting to do my activity, and I wanted to go to the toilet, so I asked to go to the toilet, and I went to the toilet and came back, and my head of year came over to me and said, "Are you alright? You look a little bit stressed." And I said, "I'm absolutely fine, I'm fine, it's just, I don't know." I didn't know what she meant. I think because of what the weather was like, I was stressed. Like, I looked stressed, but I wasn't stressed, if you understand what I mean. Like, you just, like, the heat, it was actually quite hot at the time, so I'm guessing the hot weather and stuff was making me feel stressed, making me look stressed, I don't know. But to know that someone like my head of year is there to help me with anything is just great. and it's best that like you ask for help. If there's anyone you need help from, ask for help. If you know someone that can help you, if you feel like you worry a lot that you think I need to get this under control, there's lots of people out there. Your mom, your dad, teachers at school, your friends, anyone who's there to help you, anyone you know who could help you, please do. But also, when my head of year actually was my history teacher in year 8, so she actually got to know me a bit in year 8, because when I actually was off and I came back and I actually caught up with the homework, sometimes she'd tell me to wait, and I was impatient, and I think she got to know what I was like then. So she got to know me, she got to know that I worried a bit, and of course she knew who I was when she met me in year 9 and she told me to bake me ovary. She knew me, and she obviously came over to me because at sports day she knew who I was, she knew what I was like, so she obviously wanted to ask. And if you get somebody to know who you are and what you like and what you worry about, if you let someone know that you worry, that it's 100% likely that they are going to be there for you, and it's definitely a good thing to do because they will be able to help you. And ways to cope with worrying. I've actually recently in my GCSEs I've been getting more stressed and more worried about things and stuff like that. So I've actually met my previous counsellor, because my counsellor left, and then we've got another counsellor who she's really, really nice, and I think I'm seeing her every few weeks, because at this time of year she understands that I'm going through a tough time with exams, so I just basically have a chat and catch up with her about anything that I need to talk about. So yeah, I thought this video would help. If you get worried and anxious and stuff, please comment down below and I will answer your questions. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, subscribe to my channel if you're new, and I can't wait to answer your questions. If there's anything you want to talk about, if you have anxiety, please do. I want to see what you say about this video and how much you enjoyed it, and also did it help you with anxiety. So thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you again soon with another video. Goodbye.